Hey, good afternoon and happy Thursday. We have a bit shorter week in trading here this week, and honestly, a little bit of a sigh of relief after everything we've been through so far in 2022. My name is Brandon Steele. I'm a financial advisor with Mainsail Financial Group here in Bellevue. And our goal every Thursday at 3 is to bring to you the market news, the data, the trends, all the good stuff that we're watching, hopefully weed out a bit of the noise along the way. If you are in the Pacific Northwest, you probably are aware we've got an 80-degree weekend ahead of us. So hopefully you're as excited as I am. I am hoping that summer is finally here. So hopefully you're able to get outside and enjoy it. I know I will be. I've got actually my family's birthday barbecue thing this weekend. So hopefully you're able to get out and spend some time outside here in the finally summer weather. Anyways, this week is going to be a little bit shorter, but we have a great question of the week about money rules to no longer follow, basically. So as a quick heads up, markets were closed on Monday. So a little bit of a shorter week, and we actually had a very much of a sigh of relief as far as a little bit more boring week so far anyways in the markets. But Monday started with a really strong opening. Really strong. So we opened up Tuesday, we opened very strong. And through the rest of the week, it's been a little bit slower, which, is fine. I think it's a very welcomed, again, sigh of relief because things have been hectic to say the least. So hopefully we start to see this kind of continue. Maybe we start to see a little bit of a rebound, at least for the short run from here, but we will keep you posted as we keep an eye on things moving forward. As far as data goes, on Tuesday, we had existing home sales come out basically in line with expectations. So really nothing to write home about here. Wednesday, Fed Chair Powell testified at the Senate Banking Committee. But to be honest with you, I mean, it was just politics. There was nothing helpful in that conversation whatsoever. It was purely, senators, sharing their perspective and trying to get their agenda across. So I got nothing really to report there, but for the most part, there wasn't a lot of activity in the markets, pretty much flat-ish through the day. And then today we had initial jobless claims come out at 229,000. Again, nothing too dramatic here either. So probably a part of why we're seeing things a little stabilized this week, but also it's a little bit lighter week as far as data goes, which again, may not be a bad thing. So enjoy it while we can. I'm sure there will be volatility, hopefully in the good way, but volatility to come as we get closer to July and the next Fed meeting. Coming up next week, we're going to touch on new home sales. We've got consumer confidence, and on Thursday we have inflation data. So we're back to the the market moving data that we're used to here coming up next week. We will be keeping a very close eye on this and be sure to share with you what we're watching next Thursday. So definitely tune in on Thursday at 3. As far as our question of the week, we've got a great question of money rules to no longer follow. And I want to preface this by saying this is as of now, but obviously with interest rates rising, take this with a grain of salt. The money rule to no longer follow, or to consider in a different light, I should probably say instead, is to think about leveraging your debt, your assets and your debt, okay? The old money rule has always been, and especially if you listen to like Ramsey and Orman, it's all about paying off your debt. Pay it off, pay it off, pay it off. Doesn't matter what it costs you. Doesn't matter what the opportunity cost is. The answer is pay off your debt. That may be all well and good, and I know where they're coming from with that. But, if you have a mortgage and you were able to finance, let's say late last year, that mortgage might only be costing you 3% a year, right? If that's the case, does it make the most sense to pay that off quickly? I think the answer is it depends. So don't take this as a blanket rule. Just like they say pay off your debt, I will not say everybody should not pay off their debt. That said, if you are interested in maximizing your resources, paying off a 3% mortgage may not be the best use of your resources, right? Instead, if you invest that money, for instance, and especially right now while the markets are down, probably you should be able to get some return for those dollars. And especially over the long term, if we can average, let's say 7%, that obviously would be a better use potentially of those resources than paying off a 3% debt. And especially where we're at now, where inflation's running 8%, 3% debt doesn't sound too bad. Now, the key to this is to make sure that you're taking this with your particulars in mind, right? I'm using an example of a 3% mortgage, but if you just bought or financed today and maybe didn't get the best rate, maybe you're at 6% or maybe even more, might be a little bit of a different story, right? So again, keep this in mind. What I'm really referring to is not a general rule of thumb, but if you have cheap debt, right, very low interest debt, maybe your resources could be used somewhere else. And again, especially with this market pullback that we've been seeing, whether it's a year, 4 or 5, 10 years from now, very likely you will see, some opportunities as far as investments go that may offset the low cost of the debt and where your resources are being put there. So I hope that's helpful. I think it was a very, very timely one. Again, I feel like each week we've got some great questions to touch on. Let us know what's on your mind, and we will be sure to try and answer that in our question of the week. If we do use yours, we will send you a copy on us as well for the great thought. So keep checking in on us. We will be here next Thursday at 3 p.m. And again, we'll have a lot to cover with new home sales, consumer confidence, and inflation data coming out that day. Have a great weekend coming up. Enjoy the sunshine, and we'll see you next Thursday.